Our top story at the moment, it is an ode to our democratic spirit and our Indic heritage. Well, in just 4 days from now, the Prime Minister will be inaugurating the new Parliament building. But along with that, a piece of our history which was forgotten is also going to get its rightful place. The Sengol, which symbolizes the transfer of power, and which in fact was how the transfer of power were done from the British to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, that is going to be installed next to the Speaker's podium. In fact, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah today announced that this scepter will be placed in the new house.
इसको तमिल में सेंगोल कहा जाता है और इस शब्द का अर्थ संपदा से संपन्न और ऐतिहासिक है। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कुछ लक्ष्य तय किए थे, उसमें एक लक्ष्य हमारी ऐतिहासिक परंपराओं का सम्मान और उसका पुनर्जागरण भी था। ये सेंगोल उसी लक्ष्य की परिपूर्ति के लिए आज मैं आपके सामने इसकी इंफॉर्मेशन को लेकर आया हूं। ये घटना जुड़ी है आजादी की क्षण के साथ। 14 अगस्त 1947 की रात को एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण ऐतिहासिक और अनोखी घटना ने आकार लिया था, जिसकी 75 साल के बाद आज देश के अधिकांश नागरिकों को जानकारी नहीं है। ये सेंगोल जो अभी आपने स्क्रीन पर देखा था, उसने हमारे इतिहास में एक अहम भूमिका निभाई है और ये सेंगोल अंग्रेजों से भारतीयों के साथ सत्ता के हस्तांतरण का एक प्रतीक बना था। इस घटना के ऐतिहासिक महत्व को जानने के बाद आप सभी को आश्चर्य होगा कि इतने सालों तक ये हमारे सामने क्यों नहीं आई। जब इसकी जानकारी प्रधानमंत्री जी को मिली, इस पर गहराई से विचार करने के बाद प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इसकी गहन जांच के आदेश दिए और फिर निर्णय लिया कि गौरवमयी प्रसंग को ध्रुव तारे के समान, परंपराओं के ध्रुव तारे के समान देश के सामने रखना चाहिए।
The Sengol has become a powerful representation of India's freedom after Lord Mountbatten asked Nehru how would he like to mark the transfer of power. Nehruji then turned to Rajaji or C. Rajgopalachari, who went on to later become the Union Home Minister. He advised Nehru that he should choose the Sengol to mark the handover of power, which immortalizes the Tamil tradition of the high priest handing over a scepter to a new king when he comes to power. Rajaji then arranged a scepter to be made by the seer of one of India's oldest mutts for the historic moment. This star for Sengol was then presented to Nehruji by a senior priest just a few minutes before the clock struck midnight in 1947.
Basically, 1947 में पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी द्वारा इलाहाबाद म्यूजियम का शिलान्यास किया गया था और आगे का पोर्शन बना था। तो उनकी इच्छा थी कि उनके पास भी जो सामान हैं, जो भी उनको गिफ्ट मिले हैं, वो इलाहाबाद म्यूजियम में रखे जाए। तो उसी में लगभग 1958 से 64 के बीच में डॉक्टर एस सी काला, जो डायरेक्टर थे इलाहाबाद म्यूजियम के, उन्होंने नेहरू जी के यहाँ जाकर उसकी एक लिस्ट बनाई। उस लिस्ट में गोल्डन स्टिक भी हमारी है और वो हमारे रजिस्टर में चढ़ी हुई।
But in fact, all of this while, this part of history had conveniently been forgotten. Now that it is being reintroduced into India's parliament, a section of the opposition finds it a symbol of communalization.
इसमें ये सिंगोल लगाने से इसको कम्युनलाइज किया जा रहा है और मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले वक्त में इसके अच्छे नताइज नहीं होंगे। हमारा मुल्क जो है वो आइनी तौर पे सेकुलर है और सेकुलर आइन को रखते हुए हमको किसी इंस्टीट्यूशन को कम्युनलाइज नहीं करना चाहिए और ये गलत है।
जो संसद है, जो पार्लियामेंट है, वो लोकतंत्र का मंत्र है और जिस तरह का जो एजेंडा, मैं तो कहना चाहता हूँ कि जिस तरह का जो हिडन एजेंडा, हिंदुत्व का एजेंडा जो सरकार जो पहले भी चलाती आ रही है, आज पार्लियामेंट हाउस के अंदर आप जिस लोगों जो बना के पेश करने जा रहे हो, तो मुझे बताइए कि ये सेकुलरिज्म जिसकी बुनियाद पे जो देश खड़ा है, आप उसी पे चोट करने जा रहे हो। और इस तरह के ये जो काम करके मुझे बताइए, ये देश की, मैं समझता हूँ कि सेकुलरिज्म को चोट है, सेकुलरिज्म को कमजोर करने की ताकत है। ऐसी बातें उसे ग्रेज करना चाहिए, ऐसी बातें नहीं करनी चाहिए। और अगर किसी को है अपना, तो ठीक है, अपने घर पे रखें, अपनी पार्टी के दफ्तरों में चलाएं जो कोई चलाना चाहता है। लेकिन जहां तक देश की बात है कि देश सबका है, देश मेरा भी है, देश आपका भी है, देश सबका है, तो ऐसी बातों से मैं समझता हूं कि ये एक कोई पॉलिटिकल लाहा लेना चाहते हैं।
अभी ये देश हिंदू राष्ट्र नहीं बना है, अभी ये देश सेकुलर है। डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर का रचा हुआ संविधान इस देश में चल रहा है, लेकिन इस देश के संविधान की धज्जियां उड़ाकर हिंदुत्व करके ये लोग जो पूरे देश में नंगा नाच रहे हैं, उसी का एक ये है कि वहाँ भी एक ऐसी चीज़ लाएंगे जिससे लगेगा कि हिंदुत्व को बढ़ावा दे रहा हूँ मैं समझता हूँ कि इस देश में जो वो पार्टियाँ, वो लोग जो धर्म को, मजहब को राजनीति में लाएं, उसको बढ़ावा देवें, मैं समझता हूँ कि वो लोग समझना कि मुल्क गलत लोगों के हाथ में है।
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ravi Bhatt, historian, Abbas Haider, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Nikhil Jain, political analyst. But I also want to bring in Mr. Shailesh Raj because, in fact, it's his grandfather, Vumudi Bangaru Chetty, who designed the Sengol. I want to start by asking you, sir, first of all, after all of these years, after 7 decades, how do you feel about the Sengol finally getting its, rightful place that it'll be inside India's new parliament building?
Yeah, it's a matter of great pride and honor for us that this was done by my ancestors. So this was done by my great-grandfather Vumudi Bangaru Chetty and his sons. It was a very, very prestigious project and done in rather short time, as from what we have been given to understand. Being nearly 1947, we have only a few of my father's generation who are still around, who know and remember a bit about it.
Okay, tell us a little bit about its design. Before I open this up, I just want to get an idea from you. What have you heard about the entire design process? How was that carried out? Tell us more.
Well, I think the exact drawing of the design has somehow been kept, and we have found it. It is in the documentary that has been made by the government. I think the exact drawing of it was there. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have it in our family records, but it has been saved by the government.
Yeah.
I think the documentary shows it.
Yeah, it does.
As you know, the documentary which has been released has come on the part. They have brought to the notice that this was the Adinam which had commissioned our family to make the Sengol or the scepter. At that period, our family was one of the most well-known, reputed jewelers, and we undertook to make this in very quick time and had it delivered in time for the handover.
Okay, I'll just come back to you in a second, but let me ask you this, Nikhil Jain. What do you make of the fact that for 70 years, there was absolutely no mention of the Sengol? Isn't it as much a part of the history of India's parliament and independence as the famous Freedom at Midnight speech itself?
See, Ms. Joshi, it absolutely is an important part of our freedom struggle, of our independence. But what my friends from the BJP must realize is that we are a republic. We were not given power by the British. We got it on our own. I can point it out in the preamble. The preamble does not say we take the power from the British. It is we, the people of India, give onto ourselves this constitution. When we're talking about a scepter or a Sengol, the Sengol that was used in Tamil Nadu, it was used by the Chola kings to transfer power to each other, one king to another. There is a similar scepter in the British Parliament, which is a monarchy. It's not a republic. That is basically that the Parliament is acting under the authority of the king. India is a republic. The people are the sovereign here. and there is no king. There is no need for a scepter in the Indian Parliament. Of course, it's a very important piece of history. It should be preserved in the Parliament Museum or some other museum. But to have it in the Parliament is an insult to the very fact that we are a republic and we owe our existence not to a colonial British government, but to our own people, our history of thousands of years as a subcontinent, as various kingdoms who finally got together to become a Republic of India. That is why we don't have a scepter.
Okay, respond to this, Sanju Verma. We are a democracy, not a monarchy, so a scepter has no place in a democracy's parliament.
You know, Padmaja, as I always say on your show often, the only thing worse than a liar is a liar who is also a hypocrite. And Mr. Jain, who's actually a bona fide Congress member and not just another political analyst, needs to know. I did not heckle you. Padmaja.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, please. Mr. Jain,
Okay, all right. Please, both. Sanju Verma, please, nothing, no adjectives, please. Nothing about entire political science, please. Let's stick to the straight and narrow. Go on, Sanju Verma.
No, Padmaja, I did not use any adjectives. If you give a wrong introduction, he's a Congress spokesperson. Officially or unofficially, does not matter. He's not a political analyst. Look at his Twitter timeline.
Okay, we are not here to discuss his antecedents. It is up to him what he chooses to identify as. We are very democratic about identities. Now, please, can we come to the topic? I cannot scream. Yes. Please stick to the topic.
Scream, nor can I. But I will not allow you to give wrong introduction. You know, somebody who owes allegiance to Congress, you say he's the neutral analyst. I'm sorry, he's not.
I didn't say he's a neutral analyst. I said he's a political analyst, and that's what he identifies as. I will respect it. Please continue about the topic. Go on.
Yes, he's a congressman. I will say what I need to. I also have FOE, like you have. Okay? Thank you so much. FOE is not limited to political analysts alone. It also is something that BJP spokespersons enjoy. Now, let me say one very important thing. This person is saying that, you know, the scepter should not be a part of the Indian Parliament because it is, not something that is aligned to democratic traditions. It is something which reflects the imperialistic or colonial vestige. And I will rebut this with facts. This limited point is what Amit Shah today explained brilliantly, is that the Sengol needs to be in Parliament because it is not merely about a handshake. It is not merely about transfer of power from the erstwhile East India Company and our colonial masters to the fact that we attained freedom on 15th August 1947. It is also a symbol of our rich unity in diversity. It is a symbol of our Sanskrit. It is a symbol of our traditions. It is a symbol of our heritage. And he also linked it with the Chola dynasty, which for centuries together has been appreciated and respected as the dynasty which actually brought in the so-called golden era of governance centuries back. And I will just tell you one very important thing. You know, Padmaja, why the Congress is rattled? On the one hand, they will say we need to do away with colonial vestiges. But you are the same party which actually had a problem with the Central Vista, which is trying to do away with a monument built 96 years back by Edward Lutyens and Herbert Baker. You're the same party which has a problem with the 28 feet tall statue of Netaji Bose at India Gate in a canopy which was vacated by George V way back in 1968. You are the same party which has a problem when the Modi government replaced Henry Francis Life's Abide With Me by Lata Mangeshkar's Ae Mere Watan Ke Logo. You are the same party which has a problem when we decided to have Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's insignia on INS Vikrant. So please do not sit here and say that getting the Sengol means that we are trying to imbibe imperialistic ethos. No, we are not.
Okay, Mr. Bhatt, as a historian, how do you respond to the argument of the Sengol being a symbol of imperialism?
No, absolutely not. Let me tell you, it's a very difficult to make a difference between what is the sign of royalty or imperialism or
Okay, Mr. Bhatt, we'll just try and fix that audio line with you. But let me again bring in Abbas Haider to respond to what Sanju Verma said. Abbas Haider.
Sanju Verma was not audible. There was some audio issue, I would say. But as far as scepter is concerned, according to the Tamil tradition, it is a symbol of transfer of power from one king to another. And I think our current government has quite understood the mood of the nation. So I think they are planning for 2024. They want to transfer power to the newly elected government by the opposition. I think this is why they are getting the scepter to Delhi from Allahabad.
So good, you should welcome it and you should attend the parliament inauguration then. You should be extremely thrilled with it.
Because, you know, this is all hypocrisy of Bharatiya Janata Party. Can you believe even the leader, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha is not invited to the inauguration of the parliament, who is apparently the vice president? So
okay, so let's talk about the Sengol for now. Let's talk about the Sengol for now. Sengol, why do you think that it wasn't made a part of our history, of our independence, not independence so much, but as you know, all the history about our 1947 that we've been told so far, and made a part of parliament? Why was it kept in Prayagraj all these years?
Before giving it to Nehru, it was with Mountbatten for a couple of maybe hours or so. Because, you know, so basically whoever is the first person to hold this scepter is going out of power. This is something which history has, you know, we have seen in the past. Now, this is all about the hypocrisy of Bharatiya Janata Party. They don't believe in any of the parliamentary custom, tradition or rules. We have seen the ordinance in the parliament has gone up almost twice in 16th and 17th Lok Sabha. If you talk about the referring of bill to the parliamentary committee, that has, you know, declined from 71% in 15th Lok Sabha to 12% in first 2 years of the 17th Lok Sabha.
Sir, what does this have to do with the Sengol?
No, I'm saying that you have asked me about why we are not participating in the inauguration ceremony of the parliament.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm saying why was the Sengol denied its place in history? That's all I'm asking you.
No, I'm saying Sengol is a symbol of transfer of power, and I think the current government, my respected Prime Minister, has understood that he has to transfer power. He has understood the mood of the nation from
Australia. Out of syllabus as always.
That is why he's getting Sengol from Allahabad, and we are quite happy with that.
Okay, let me quickly ask Shailesh Raj also, because I think it's more important to get his perspective in. Do you think it is important symbolically that, you know, something that was blessed in the South will now be residing in Delhi inside Parliament? Shailesh Raj.
Well, it was conceived by the elders of the nation, and so obviously they did know best, and they have done it in the right way. And of course, it's a very apt situation, or can I say apt occurrence that has happened.
But after 7 decades, finally the Sengol will get its due, sir?
Of course, it is a very momentous and historic item of handover of power. The fact that it got, I don't know for whatever reason, I think it was in the Nehru Museum where it was kept. Probably some kind of bookkeeping error or mistake, and why we didn't know much about it. But it's a real pleasure to see this present dispensation take the effort to research about it, find out about it, contact us about it. It made us look into our past and history and, you know, kind of remember this whole very important aspect of our past. I have to say big credit to this government, from the Prime Minister to senior journalist Mr. Gurumurthy, who has, I think, played a very important part to bring up this very historic scepter and its importance in our independence.
Okay, I'm going to have to leave it at that because we're completely out of time. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, Sanju Verma, for joining me. But Shailesh Raj just mentioned Mr. Gurumurthy. In fact, at 10, I'm going to be speaking to him in detail about how this idea was conceived, how the Prime Minister actually thought about the Sengol, and to finally have it installed inside India's new Parliament building.